how did I get through that situation? And then I'll realize almost right away, it wasn't anything I did. It's not anything that I said that was special. But God just used me in that moment, or he gave me the words, which I never would have been able to think of on that spot to say, or he just made it work out in a way that I didn't even understand maybe in the moment.
Welcome to this episode of the His Hill Podcast. My name is Kelly Doherty and I'm your host. Today I have with us an alumni who's working in camp. This is Andrew Radtke. He was a student about a year and a half ago, so 2 student bodies ago. And he came to us this summer kind of last minute. We were in need of guy counselors, and he found out about it and sensed that the Lord was prompting him to do so. So he dropped everything and came right away, and it's been a blessing to have him here. Actually, we're not going to get rid of him anytime soon either, because he's just agreed today to stay on as an intern. So we're excited about that. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Kelly.
Andrew, let's tell everybody, first of all, how old you are.
I'm 20.
Okay, so he's 20 years old. And where do you come from?
I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, which, if you don't know where that is, it's in Canada.
Okay, yeah, kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the balmy area of
it's a flat area.
And it's actually one of the coldest areas in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cold. This is hot. This is very hot, and I miss the cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about your life. Did you grow up, were you born and grew up in the same place?
Yeah, so I was born in Winnipeg. I've lived there my whole life. I went to church there. I've lived in the city. That's all I've known. Didn't do a lot of traveling or anything. So yeah, this is, being in Texas has been so awesome for me. Just being here and the heat and the hills actually is insane. Seeing the hill country here, it's wild. People just oh, it's normal, but these are mountains for me. So it's really strange.
Yeah, you're actually from very flat area. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your family. Did you grow up in a Christian family?
Yeah, so I grew up with a mom and dad, both believers. My grandparents were believers. We went to church every Sunday. I went to VBS. I went to youth group, all that stuff. Yeah, I would say very stereotypical, I guess.
Okay.
Upbringing in a Christian home.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one sister, Jasmine.
Jasmine, and she's just finished her school year.
Yeah, she did.
And she's here for the summer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Well, tell us, how did you become a believer?
I think it was just, being just such a present subject in my life. I just grew up knowing about Jesus and learning about him. I believe I was saved at a young age. I believe I truly came to Christ when I was younger. My parents were diligent in teaching me and my sister and getting us to understand that, we can't save ourselves. And so, that was, it's just always been a thing in my life, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And growing up, what was your walk like with the Lord as a child and on?
I would say, looking back, I believe it was very much like building the foundation of my life on sand in a way. And the reason I say that, sand instead of the rock, rock is Christ. And I say that because it was such a normal thing. It was such a present thing in my life. I knew about it. I believe I was saved, but all the knowledge and stuff was all just in my head kind of. It was so normal. It wasn't special. It was just so regular. It just became monotonous. And
what you're saying reminds me of Psalm 50. It's there that God shows himself as the judge of his people. And there's 2 different groups of his people that he's talking to there. He's talking to those who are active in a religion, but it's only a cloak, it's only a covering for their sinful activity. But then there's the others that are just simply going through the motions.
Yeah.
But their heart is not his. It's outside of a dependence on him. It's a dependence on just their activity, just their knowledge of things, doing the right thing. And I think, what you're saying is, and here this being in Psalms, I think this is something that we all deal with in the flesh, that it's really tempting for us to water down the gospel as being just, checking off a box.
Yeah.
Just, getting that fire insurance and just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And we don't see our relationship with the Lord as being our life. We see it as an important part of our life, or a big part of our life, or something that will become a big deal in heaven someday, but really not real impactful for us today. And that seems to be, kind of what you're describing.
Yeah, it's like it's a part of your life. It's a little bit of your life. It's this, that. It's not your life, though.
Yeah.
And it should be our lives.
Right, yeah. In our quick reminders, we're looking at, Jesus saying, I am the way, the truth, and next week we're going to look at the life. And, he's not a big part of our life. He's not a life. He is the life. And we don't really understand what it means to live, know what it is to live until we've come, till we've come into that relationship by faith in Christ, trusting Him for what He has for us.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Man, this is a wild episode. So then what happened to you to where, like, how long did all this go on where you're just kind of going to church, you're just kind of doing things, but there's nothing real inside, there's no big changes?
Yeah. So I would say, it all kind of came to this climax in my life where I forget exactly how old I was, but like 11 or 12, maybe around there. And my parents' relationship, a big wedge came in between them, and something happened, and there's fighting, and there's issues now all of a sudden, and that led up to a divorce. And so at that point, and I just want to read quickly, I'm going to stop there and read from Matthew 7:24, Jesus' words. It says, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it." And so I think this just speaks so clearly to like what that point in my life, I was hearing all these things. I knew all these things, quote unquote, right? Like, but it was all sand. It was a big old sandcastle I was building. It looked really good. The sun kind of baked it. It was hard. It was like, it wasn't going to fall over. It looked really nice. And it was like, yeah, this is good. And everything was fine. And then this came along, my parents divorced, and that was just, the rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew, and they beat against the house of my life that I set up, that sandcastle. It was just, and it just utterly destroyed it. And after that point, instead of coming back to the Lord and realizing, oh, this is, I need to build it on something else. I need to look at myself. I need to look inwardly, like what is going on, and look to the Lord and say, Lord, I can't do this. This is terrible. And I look to Him for my peace and to feel that love that I wasn't feeling. Instead, I got angry at Him. And after praying, like I would pray every night, just crying out, like, Lord, fix this. Like, fix my parents' marriage. Like put them back together, make them love each other again. I was so set on that. That when that didn't happen, it broke me, and I was just, I wanted nothing really to do with God at that point. And I didn't necessarily stop going to church, and I didn't all of a sudden, like, I wanted to still like make my parents proud, I guess I would say, show them what they wanted to see. But yeah, I really, at that point, my heart was just turned away from the Lord. I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
How old were you?
I think it would have been at that point like 13 years old, 12 or 13. Yeah. And so like middle school and high school is when I really started to see the fruit of that, I guess, the bad fruit.
How did that change? What changed with you?
It's really just the influences. I went to a private Christian school back home. But yeah, it was just like if my friends had come over to your house and, you know, we're just hanging out and you could just sit there on the couch and watch us interact, you wouldn't have guessed like that we were Christians, that we went to the school, that we went to church. Nothing would have been evident. It would have been very strange for us to come and tell you after, oh yeah, I believe in God and Jesus is in my heart and all this stuff. And I go to church every Sunday, or maybe it would have, but it's just, yeah, it was just, I still did all the things, you know, I was supposed to do. But I did not believe it. I didn't care. I did what I wanted, hung out with whoever I wanted, said the things that I wanted to say, did what I wanted to do. Just, yeah, living by the flesh. Just, I had this hole in my heart. We love to sing this song at camp. Yeah. Like a donut, right? I had a big hole. And I was not filling that hole with Jesus because I was pushing him away and just trying to fill this hurt and this grief that I had and fill it with other things, right?
Okay. And did that pretty much go all the way through high school?
Yeah, I would say it went on for until I graduated. Really, I think, yeah, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but really until I came here as a student.
Okay.
That was kind of my life. I was just doing what I wanted. It got worse and worse as it went on.
And you were part of the youth group at church, you said?
Yeah, I went to youth. I still went to church every Sunday. I would read my Bible sometimes. I would pray. I would still pray every night. And I would do those things. And then I just would do the exact opposite as soon as push came to shove.
Your youth pastor or the youth workers know that you were struggling?
No. Okay. I tried very hard to hide it from people, hide it from my parents. And
really, even your parents?
Yeah. I don't think they're stupid. I think they probably had an inkling of a feeling that, you know, something wasn't right, but I just so badly didn't want to I didn't want them to find out. I didn't want them to be disappointed in what I was doing, or because I knew it was wrong. For not one moment in my life did I think that what I was doing was right, that it was going to fix anything. I knew deep down, like every single time I did it, I felt convicted by it. I knew I shouldn't be hanging out with these friends that I had. I knew I shouldn't be going to these parties. I shouldn't be doing any of this, but I still did it.
So what made you want to go to Bible school?
So I graduated high school, and I didn't really have a plan for my life. I didn't know if I was going to go to college, go to university, you know, whatever. I had nothing. I was kind of lost, just wandering around like, okay, what's next? I worked a bit, you know, I got a job, but it wasn't really something I wanted to do. And so, yeah, I just felt like I was at this point in life where I didn't know what was next. And I wasn't at school anymore, right? So I wasn't hanging around these guys as much, and I wasn't really doing the things that I was doing as much in high school, although that was still like, if somebody asked me, I would say, oh yeah, let's go, or let's go to this party or whatever. But it wasn't as much of a present influence, I would say. And so I was kind of just in this limbo point. And at this point, my dad is remarried. So I have a stepmom in my life now. And I love her very much. And she's awesome. And she's a believer.
Yeah, she's an alumni.
She is an alumni, yes. So yeah, funny story is she came here when she was my age now, like, you know, or a couple years, I guess, 18 or 19. And so she was here. And so she started kind of encouraging me to, well, if I don't know what I'm doing, why don't you take a gap year? And there's this place in Texas called His Hill.
That she happens to know about.
She happens to just know about it. And she's like, well, maybe consider going. Maybe you could go. It like would be a good opportunity. I don't remember exactly any of the conversations we had about it, but I just remember more and more feeling I remember how I said I knew the stuff I was doing was wrong. It wasn't right. And I think more and more the Lord used that encouragement from her and from my parents, and just like opening up my eyes to like, what am I doing? And kind of turning my heart towards this door that he opened of coming here. And so this was, I would have graduated that, I guess in Canada, that June. And then I worked that summer. And then by the point where I kind of realized I wanted to come, where I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was a very convenient excuse to only come for one semester, was I decided to do it in September or October of that year, 2022. And so, I was going to come in January and just do the one semester till summertime and be done. I'm just going to do that, fix my life, just God's going to just, everything will be good after this. And it's so funny, but the way he works is just unreal. It's just his faithfulness. But so I decided to come. I saved up some money. I was working. And then all of a sudden, I didn't try and like fix my life or anything. I continued in my sin in those ways, literally up until the point that I left, pretty much. I was just like, really, it was just a huge excuse to keep doing it until I left. Because then I'll change. Then I'll let God do whatever he wants with me when I come to Bible school. But until then, I'm going to keep doing what I want. And so I did. And then, I left. I came to Texas. It was hot in the middle of winter. However, that doesn't make any sense to me. There was no snow anywhere. It was so wild. And from that point on, God just absolutely shook like my world up. Like showing me I think the biggest thing is showing me what actual friends are. That was a huge thing for me. It's just like, we have nothing in common. There was no one from Winnipeg here. I was on my own. But these guys from Ontario, from Germany, from all over the place. Yeah. We had so little in common, but we had this kind of one thing. We were all coming from a place, wherever that was in our flesh, and just coming here. And slowly as the semester went on, all of us were realizing, or a lot of these guys already had realized this, I think, because, this is halfway through the year. And I came to realize, I'm nothing. I can't do this. There's so much I'm learning. There's so much I'm realizing about the Lord and what's happened in my life, and looking back and seeing all the good that's come from the quote unquote bad things, right? All these trials, and it was just such an overwhelming feeling of what am I doing with my life? What really matters? And all that knowledge, all those times where I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I still kept doing those things. I just felt so sick of living that double life, and just, it's so, I don't really have the words to explain it, but it truly and he wasn't done with me though. I said, I was going to come for one semester. That's not true. I came for 2, because at the end of that school year, maybe even halfway through, I decided I'm going to come back. I need more of this. I want more of this. And I'm not sure if the reasons were all just because I wanted to know the Lord more and let him work, but maybe just because of the friends I made. My motives were not exactly clear, but whatever they were, he still was faithful, and he brought me back. I worked that summer after I went home, and I worked. And he used that too. That was really funny to look back at. I left thinking I knew everything. Okay. I was just this, man, I'm ready to face the world, take it by storm, and I'm gonna preach the gospel to people. I'm gonna do all these things that I've learned about. I'm gonna keep up with my devotions, just you name it, I'm gonna do it. And I went home and I got a job landscaping, and it just did not go the way I thought it was gonna go. It was an epic disaster. It was all in my own strength.
Okay. Everything
I was trying to do was in my own strength, and what I was trying to say to these guys, just every day working. It was kind of another world shaking moment where I was like, hey, so I got away from this stuff, theoretically, is what I thought. And then I came to Bible school, learned all these things, and now I'm at home, and nothing is going the way I thought it would. Nothing's really working out. These guys aren't responding to me the way I thought. I'm messing up. I'm like, my tongue is slipping. Like I'm starting to say things that I used to. Like what is going on? And so, and fun fact is I still struggle with this, but it's just, it did make me realize that I was kind of going back into the same cycle of what I had before in my life, where I was knowing all these things, learning all these things. It was not something that I was letting the Lord use in my life, though. It was things that I wanted to use. It was knowledge that I wanted to share. It was like, you get what I'm saying? It's just, it was all me.
Yeah.
It was all this stuff that I wanted to do. I, little I, like lowercase I and not the uppercase I.
Yeah. Like from what we talked about last week in camp.
Exactly.
From John 14, Jesus says, I am, uppercase.
Exactly.
Not you, but me. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
I think that is the struggle that we all battle with. That we see our need for Christ in salvation, right? We can't save ourselves, and we understand that the Lord has done this, and that we need to believe in Him. We need to trust Him, and so we make that decision to by faith and trust our life to Christ, to believe in Him, but Colossians 2:6 says, "As you therefore have received, so walk in Him." We need to learn that. Okay, now it's continuing to trust Him. We've trusted Him for His work of justification. Now we need to trust Him for His work of sanctification, to let Him grow us and mature us. And that's what we continue to learn. I mean, He will be teaching us this for all of eternity, I think, to what it means to trust Him, to allow Him to have His way. And so what you're saying is I don't think it's strange to anybody. And I think a lot of people can identify with the frustration. Yeah, that you're expressing, that was yours. Like, how did this happen? What is going on? We just finished high school week at camp, and I was trying to encourage those high schoolers that a lot of them have been here since they were little people. And they come every year to our campfire, and they at the end of the week they say, "This year, last year I learned this, and I didn't do it, but this year I will." And we were trying to encourage them. Don't leave here with that. Leave here with I didn't do it last year. I didn't do it the year before. I, in and of myself, am not going to do it this year. I need Him. And what does that mean? And He's faithful to show us that. But go ahead and tell us how the Lord's taking you through this.
Well, okay, so so I was working the job, right? And this is when I came to that realization, I think. When I truly started to understand what this kind of looks like, what I'm lacking. And it wasn't like a big light bulb moment, but it was just gradually. And a lot of it comes through reflection. In my life, I've started realizing this more and more, but looking back and trying to find those times where He was faithful when I wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah. Or I wasn't even I'm skipping a little far ahead. I wanted to talk about this with camp, but maybe I will just real quick. Yeah. This summer at camp has been so unreal and just it's been so awesome, and I've loved it so much. But the thing I've realized the most is through all the times, through the tough campers or the situations I have no idea what to say. And I don't know how to feel about this, but it's just such an amazing testament to God's faithfulness and His love for us and His mercy and grace. In those times, I don't remember to pray, or I don't even take it to the Lord in any way. It's happening, and I respond to it. I do something, and things happen, and it's over with. And it's not until I look back and reflect. At the end of the day, I'll kind of usually do it. I've been trying to. And look back and think, how did I get through that situation? And then I'll realize almost right away, it wasn't anything I did. It's not anything that I said that was special. But God just used me in that moment. Or He gave me the words, which I never would have been able to think of on that spot to say. Or He just made it work out in a way that I didn't even understand maybe in the moment. And He just used that for something that maybe later in that day or later in that week, it comes back full circle, and it's just like, wow, like it's so amazing to look back and see those moments.
That's interesting to me. Excuse me. I don't know if you realize this, but several times in our conversation, you've made the statement, but he was faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And even in sometimes when you said, I don't even know if it was the right motives,
Yeah.
but he was faithful.
Yeah.
And you've made that comment several times. And I think that's what's important, is to understand that in this relationship that we are in with Christ, he is the faithful one.
Yeah.
He is the enabler. He's the one that he's the active partner in this relationship. He takes the initiative toward us, and we are to respond to him. I appreciate that. And I don't know if you realize you were doing that, but it just
I've been
seems
trying to emphasize it a little bit. Yeah. That's
All
been
right.
something I've been learning.
Okay, good.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you were here for you went home for the first summer.
Mm-hmm.
For that summer, you came back for Bible school to finish out your year.
Yes.
And how did that year end for you?
So I came into that year kind of with a different perspective. Maybe I would like to say, I guess, put it like with my hands a bit more open, giving a bit more to the Lord, saying, I'm not gonna try and do these things, but maybe I'll just let myself, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but let myself just surrender more to you, I guess I would say. Me, again, it's funny, that was still me trying to do it. And I realized that it was still something, but he's just, over the past year and a half.
But he was faithful.
He was faithful. Yes, he was faithful. It was still something, I still struggle with it. I think I'll probably continue saying this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you will.
He taught me so many things that semester, and I'm so thankful for it. The friends that I made and the things that I learned, and just the experiences I had. He's used those things. Mm-hmm. He's worked in my heart with those things. And I would say it wasn't a whole lot different than my first semester, just because I kind of went home and I did the same thing again. I went home and I started working. And so that was the end of 2023. And so the whole 2024 and then up to camp this summer. So a year and a half, I've been home and I've been working. And it turned into another moment of, I'm trying to do these things. And I'm trying to just kind of to talk to people about this stuff. And I know that God has been using what I've said and planted seeds, and he's working in the ways that maybe I look back and I don't realize, or I think I messed up, or whatever, but he can use me no matter what I'm doing. Right. But it's so funny to just look back and know that I am still making the same mistakes I made, which I thought I'd grown from and moved on from, and that I've learned these things. I'm not going to do that again. No, I still do it again. I still did the same thing. My heart posture is the same as it was 2 years ago, or it's just.
The listeners have heard me say this before, but when we talk about these seasons in our life, these trials, that we've come through this, and the Lord's taught us something, and we then get frustrated, because here it comes again.
Yeah.
And I came to Christ when I was 9 years old. I'm 59 now. And there's something that the Lord has shown me. As soon as I get through this trial, this dark time, the next one will be on the horizon.
Yeah.
And often, if not, very, very often, if not every time, it's the same trial. Mm-hmm. And I think what we learn in this is what you've been emphasizing, is that he is faithful.
Yeah.
He's faithful to teach us the same thing, because really there's nothing else to learn.
Yeah.
That he is everything. Christ is my life. I can trust him. And, we live in a fallen world, so we're always going to deal with that in this life. Mm-hmm. And he's always going to show himself faithful in this. A familiar passage to us, it's repeated several times in Proverbs, but 3, 5, and 6, he says to trust in the Lord with all your heart Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will. Oh, I appreciate that. He will make your path straight. And I think that really amplifies what you're saying. That it's not, we're not going to find that formula or that incantation. We're not going to find that verse, that doctrine that's going to flip a switch.
And it's just all better.
And we never make a mistake again. But the Lord will always bring us back to himself. To where there are times in life, there are seasons that we're just really struggling, but the Lord is always faithful to bring us to this point where we can say with Paul, for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. That this is, yes, I am not perfect. Yes, I struggle. I keep forgetting that I'm not the answer, but he continues to show me that he is.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying, in this whole interview has been really encouraging, in that I come back to again the way you keep saying he was faithful. I appreciate that. So be encouraged, not discouraged.
Yeah, that just made me think of a verse, Psalm 46:10, and it says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." That's the ESV. I really like the NASB version. It says, "Cease striving." And that word striving to me is just hit. This has been part of my devos with the kids this summer. And I've emphasized this word so much because I've found it to be so true in my own life. I've been striving to do these things, striving to do it out of my own power, out of my own ability, striving to do what's right, striving to please God, and striving just all the time. And only when I've now started to realize a bit more, and I still strive, I still do it, but it just says to cease striving, stop doing things, stop doing this, stop trying to do these things, and know that I am God, capital I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Know that I am God and I'm in control. I created everything. I created you. I allowed these circumstances in your lives, and I know how it's going to end up, and I'm going to use all these things for good and for my plan.
That's right.
And so just stop. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. That has hit home for me so much recently, especially with now, you mentioned at the very start, just briefly, but I'm staying, hopefully, Lord willing, as an intern here for another year after summer. And I've just been so kind of nervous thinking about what am I going to do after? What does this mean? It's another year, people like to say, it's another year. You're not getting ahead, or you're not, going to school. You haven't figured out, I don't know what I'm going to do after that year, anything. And that's just kind of been voices in the back of my mind, making me hesitant. Even today, texting John back about it and saying, yes, I'm going to, was such a step for me, a step in faith that I had to take.
Yes, you're going to stay as an intern.
Yes, exactly. And just, it's been just so unreal to still feel, oh man, I lost my train of thought.
No, so you're doing good. That's fine.
Yeah, just taking that step, not knowing where it's going to lead me.
Right.
What's going to happen after. But I just need to trust that he is God. And he has something good planned, and it's not going to be easy. It's not, going to be sunshine and roses the whole time. But
well, what I appreciate about, what you're emphasizing now, what you were bringing out of the passage, it says to cease striving. So often we stay there, but then he goes on, and know.
Yeah.
Cease striving and know that I am God. And, I think, in the book of Hebrews, where we are told to, in chapter 11, to, the encouragement is for us to live by faith. Mm-hmm. And we always think faith is this leap in the dark with our eyes closed. There's uncertainty. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we may not know what the Lord's doing, but we know that he knows. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a leap in the dark with our eyes closed, eyes wide open, leaping into the certainty that he knows what he's doing. So leaping into this certainty of him, to know that he is God, to know that he knows what he's doing. And he's worked this in your heart. He's opened the doors. You're trusting him. You step in. What's he doing? It's for him to reveal in his time. Mm-hmm. So that's great. To see striving and know.
Yeah, that's just been so impactful these past couple months. And that's why I tried to say before too, like what I've been doing recently, like in my reflection, looking back and finding all those times where he has been God. He has done something, a miracle. He has done something so out of my control, but look how it turned out. Or maybe I still don't know, but I wouldn't have gotten through that situation. And I don't know what the fruit of that situation will be yet, but nothing would have happened. Nothing good maybe would have come from it if I was the one doing those things. Mm-hmm. Or just just looking back and whatever you could say about whatever happened that day, or, whatever camper I was talking with, or whatever diva I was doing. The meal I was eating, this little comment somebody made, just looking back and reminding myself of all those times has been so good for me, I think. Just to know that he is God. Yeah. And maybe not in the moment, I can't remember it. Maybe not in the moment, I'm not stopping and praying to him. I'm not thinking about what he's going to do. But in the moment, he's still doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned it too. It's so good of God to allow us to have these moments where we can look back. Mm-hmm. And while I may be frustrated with where I am, and I look back and I go, "Oh my goodness, he has been faithful." I'm not the person I was. Yeah. And so these are good things. I appreciate, you saying that, just at the end of a day, even to look back and see how he has been active, how he has been doing, how he has been living, and allowing me to know that is a great reminder for us to be thankful and to express that to him, praise him for that, and to acknowledge that this is his work, this is his doing.
Yeah, it's been so amazing to see that, and like looking further back in my life with my parents' divorce and that, I don't know, like he obviously could have brought me here without that, but looking back and seeing what a tool that was, the way he used that through my stepmom who came here. And now I'm here, and now I'm here for camp, and now I'm going to be staying. And just the way those things have worked out for good, right, has been it's such a testament, right?
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a testament to the fact that he's in control. Mm-hmm. That our mistakes do not usurp his sovereignty. Yeah. He's got this. Mm-hmm. Well, Andrew, I appreciate this. You're out of cabin this week, which means you're very busy. When our counselors are not in cabin, they're plugged into absolutely every empty spot that we can get them into to help with the support staff. And so Andrew had a break before finishing up an activity. Now he has to get to lunch, and he's got other jobs to do throughout the day. So Andrew, thank you very much for giving us this time.
Yeah, of course, Kelly. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the His Hill podcast, featuring our host, Kelly Doherty and Andrew Radtke. We have one more week of summer camp left, and then our summer staff will move on to the next thing God has for them. Please be praying for our volunteers as they head out next Saturday, that they would leave encouraged and grateful at heart for all this summer entailed. Thank you again for joining us this week for another episode of the His Hill podcast. Keep your eyes fixed on Christ, and don't forget that you have been crucified with Christ, and that it is no longer you who lives, but Christ who lives in you. I'm Lizzie, and we'll see you next week.